Hi everyone, welcome back to the Gilbert F. Stansel Musical Instrument Museum here at Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp. My name is Dave Bower, I'm the curator of the museum. What would you say to me if I were to say to you that this instrument behind me here is the biggest wind instrument that we have in the museum? Well, you being the very smart and perceptive person that you are would say, I'm pretty sure that's an organ and that's a keyboard instrument, right? Well, as it happens, I think we're both right. So let's talk about what makes organs really interesting and really cool. The organ, like so many other instruments that we've talked about, has a very long history. One of the first recorded examples of somebody describing an organ-type instrument comes to us from the 1st century BC when a man named Hero, who lived in Alexandria in Egypt, described what he called a hydraulic organ. And there was a cistern partially full of water and partially full of air. As you pumped more air into it, it pressurized the air that was already in there, and then that air was allowed to escape through a system of hoses and finally into the organ pipes, and that's what created the sound. The instruments that we're more familiar with as being pipe organs began to appear in Europe probably around the 11th century or so. By the 13th or 14th centuries, we had instruments that were called portative organs, and that's like this instrument that we have over in the corner here. Portative, as the name would suggest, meant that they were fairly portable and they could actually be taken from one place to another. And that's a difference between the organs that we know of today that are usually permanent installations in buildings that are very large. The other feature of organs until about the 19th century, when someone had the bright idea of connecting an electric motor to the bellows of the organ, was that they had to be played by at least two people. So for example, you've got this image here which shows the woman on the left playing the instrument and the woman on the right lifting and dropping the bellows in alternation, and that's what gives the instrument the constant flow of air it needs to provide a consistent and a beautiful sound. Now the portative organ over here has just one type of pipes, and it gives you a very flute-type sound. One of the features of the modern organ is that it can provide us with a variety of sounds and a variety of colors. And I can demonstrate that with this organ that we have here that's called a continuo or a box organ. And continuo refers to a part of the orchestra in the Baroque period, and this organ sometimes could appear in the orchestra during that time. But this instrument also has a number of stops. And stops are those knobs and levers on the front of the instrument or on the sides that give you access to different pipes, and so that's what gives you the different colors. So I've just got one set of stops on right now, and that gives you one sound. And then as I add stops, you begin to add color and add pipes. I've got even one more set. And then finally one last set. That gives you both the most colorful and the loudest sound. And different combinations of those stops are called registration, and that's what gives you the various different types of sound that the organ provides. I have just one other organ to show you. This particular organ is essentially the focus of the keyboard room here at the museum. It was an instrument built in 1860 in England by a manufacturer named Henry Willis, who built much larger organs, but also built this small organ that he called a Scudamore organ for small churches and small chapels, and even for some private homes. And it's a very simple instrument that was essentially just meant to accompany hymn singing. It's also one that has to be pumped by hand. It's always nice to have a helper when you do this, but I did want to give you an idea of how this instrument sounds. One of the other special things about organs, many of them anyway, is that you can also play with your feet because they have what's called a pedal board, and that requires an additional level of skill for the organist because they have to coordinate the action of their hands and their feet. So I'll give you an idea how that works. So that's just a brief introduction to organs. Come and see all of the organs in the museum's collection and all of our other instruments the next time you're here at camp. We look forward to seeing you all here back at camp in 2021. We hope that you're well and safe. Keep an eye on our social media pages this summer for more fun content. And thanks for watching this virtual arts video brought to you by Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp. Bye-bye.